our next guest will be all over the place. We'll chit-chat. We'll talk life, fitness, college football, you name it. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering Hotline. Cousin Shane with us. What's up, brother?
Hey, man, what's going on?
How you been, man?
Been good. I've been trying to cut some lbs before I see you again. You know, I'm down 72 pounds since January 1st. Doing a lot of golfing. I didn't think I'd enjoy it, and then I got addicted to it. And you know me, I don't like gyms. I don't like walking. But something about the golf course has just called to me, man.
That's great, man. Are you actually good?
No, I'm bad. That's probably why I'm losing so much weight chasing these dang balls around, you know?
Hey, man, so I wanted to start things off with A&M because I watched a clip of you recently, and I thought it was actually an optimistic point of view because I've heard you before, and I think you had A&M maybe 9-3-ish. Tell me if I'm wrong. I think you had us at 9-3.
That's correct.
And just missing out on the playoffs, but you feel like they're close. So I wanted to give you the platform to kind of just discuss why you think they're close and how close they actually are and what you think for A&M this year.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think when you look at year one, we got overexcited. I know I did. I said, wait a minute, Texas A&M is already back, and that's what it felt like. I mean, we're in the final month of the year, and we're potentially going to an SEC championship. Then I feel like the depth kind of reared its ugly head. And that's something that was addressed in the offseason. Couple of things I do love about the Aggies going into this season is that offensive line, the running game. Year two, there's just something about that sophomore season with a coordinator and a head coach where he can kind of release the reins a little bit. I love the fact that Elko is going to be a little bit more involved with the defense here. But for me, it's a gut check. I love the schedule. I feel like if you own home, you'll be fine. And if you do that, then you're going to be one of those teams that we're talking about late November about potentially making a playoff run here.
Yeah, by the way, I agree with you. Last season, we're talking about, and this happens to a lot of teams, but we're talking about a player or two, an injury away from being a playoff team. So and also with so much uncertainty at quarterback last season, for them to do as well as they did, I think it's actually a credit to that coaching staff because I love Marcel Reed, I do, but the expectation was that was Connor Wigman's team last year, and that didn't turn out to be the case.
Yeah, it's just you go into that season and for me, I think about all the valuable reps we lost in the offseason. Like right now, this is the time where Reed's making his biggest gains. You know, I hope him and Terry and Concepcion I hope they're like 3 peas in a pod, you know, going around everywhere. They need to be as a unit when they hit the football field. And I worry about some of these quarterback controversies we've seen a lot with the SEC teams. And I feel like it hurts some of these younger quarterbacks. Now we don't have that now. This is Reed's team. And I think he is the ultimate X factor on how far Aggies are going to go. But you know, it's nice knowing that those valuable reps aren't being squandered now.
If I were to tell you the offense does what the offense did last year without injuries, okay?
Yeah.
All right, not major injuries, okay? You don't lose your best offensive player, okay? Like Le'Veon. But I say the defense takes 2 steps forward. What does that do to your 9-3? Is that still the 9-3? Is that what you're expecting? Or does now you're like, okay, now we're 10-2?
Well, let's be 100% transparent. I've been on the Aggie bandwagon several times, and it's blew up in my face. and I feel like on our show, a lot of Aggie fans are hoping I don't get too excited because they think I carry some curse along with me. But this is a team that I'm getting more and more pumped about. The more we go, the longer we talk to Ag fans, Ag media personalities. It's just I learn something new every time I have that conversation. And I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. If the defense takes a step forward, because the country watched the last 4 games that Texas A&M played, and they saw a lot of 40-point games. That's not Elko defense. So taking those 2 steps, then all of a sudden South Carolina's probably a win. You know what I'm saying? It should have been. I felt like they were the more talented team, but there was a lot of mistakes, a lot of injuries that came up on that one. And then you factor the Auburn travesty. That's what it was.
Yep.
I feel like, you do that, then all of a sudden you are a playoff team. So I feel like we're closer than most 2-year coaches would be down there in College Station. And that's the reason you should be excited, because let's face it, when you do make playoff runs and when you do win national championships, you can look at every championship team and there's a little lady luck. That's one thing that you can't factor in. You got to have some good luck on your side. And unfortunately, A&M didn't have that last year.
You're like me, I think, that you're not sold on Florida. Why are you not sold on Florida?
Man, I fight it every day. That's all Mike wants to talk about. In fact, today on that SEC podcast, we're doing a Florida preview. So I'm thinking about calling it sick. Here's the deal. I don't understand it. I don't understand the love for the Florida Gators right now. And I guess we live in this bubble. And it kind of what we did with A&M. We just said A&M is not good because of the last month. Well, now we're saying Florida's good because of their last month, because they played a battered LSU team, because they played let's just face it, they got beat by Ole Miss. Ole Miss should have won that game. I still blows my mind. Out of all the games, Ole Miss loses to Kentucky and Florida. I still don't understand that. So we gained this momentum. We play the worst Florida State team that's ever fielded, and then a Tulane team that's not, 3-week in Tulane team. This is a team that's kind of decimated and opt out. So we put all this stock into DJ Lagway that he's here. This is back. They're growing. This is the year for Billy Napier. And I'm like, what? Off a little good streak, off some bad teams at the tail end of your schedule? The schedule is tougher this year for the Florida Gators. Prime example, they're coming to your house, even though you beat them. You went over there and beat them last year. I'm expecting a blowout this season. So yeah, Florida takes I don't want to say a big step. I want to put a little asterisk by this. You give the Florida Gators, I do think the Florida Gators are a better team in 25, but unfortunately they don't have a Tennessee schedule. They don't have a Mizzou schedule. If they did, then all of a sudden, we're going to give Billy Napier another 5 years.
All right, Mizzou, that easy-ish schedule, but you're not high on them.
Not as high as I have been. And there are a couple things to keep intact here. Schedule, there's Tennessee and Mizzou have the best schedules. I really love Mizzou's because of their home field. Most of their toughest games, those coin toss games, are going to be at Columbia, which I think is really important. Drink has came out here and said that this is the best football team he's fielded. Every time I put anything negative about Mizzou out there, I get 3 guys telling me how deep this roster is. So there's a part of me says you can't sleep on what Drink has been doing up there in Columbia, but you're kind of hinging it on a quarterback we've not seen, a backup quarterback that's come in. Yes, he's athletic, but does he do better? I feel like this is going to be more of a ground pound team. They're going to kind of get back to that. And for this to really work, Mizzou's defense has got to be the side that really steps up and kind of erases some of those mistakes that Prabula is going to probably have early in the year.
Talking to Cousin Shane here on TexAgs Live. All right, Cousin Shane, let's look at the expected top tier of the SEC. Georgia, I don't know if they're the same Georgia. I don't know, with Gunnar Stockton. And Texas, expected, they lost their offensive line. They got Arch, who's supposed to be, the second coming of Tim Tebow. But there's questions at both of those teams. Do you see them potentially both taking a step back?
Well, I do think Texas is one you got to watch taking a little bit back, because we're putting a lot of stock in Arch Manning. I don't know if you caught Steve Spurrier's comments the other day, but he says, hey, if he were that good, he would have been starting over the 5th round quarterback that was selected in the draft. So, take that for what it's worth. I do feel like there's a lot of optimism. Obviously, I'm sure you deal with it more than I do. Coming from Austin, they just reload, they don't replace. So, but to go playoffs 2 years in a row, I mean, you've already kind of set the bar. So naturally you think that there would be a little regression there. Now the Georgia Bulldogs, on the other hand, I think that we talked about Lady Luck. I mean, when you lose your quarterback at the end of the season, that's tough. That's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, it's not a left guard. It's not a defensive end. This is the heart and soul of your offense, which they had no running game at all last year. So I felt like Gunner was kind of thrown into the fire. Georgia Bulldogs, watch out for that team. You don't have them on your schedule, but if all goes well, you'll play them in the playoffs. This is a very, very good football team, and I feel a little bit of a revenge tour going on here. So it's just leadership. Kirby's talked about it several times. He needs some guys to step up, and if that happens, be careful about them Georgia Bulldogs this season.
With so many first-year starters in the SEC at quarterback, is there one that you're like, dude, I just don't see it? Is it Ty Simpson? Is it Mateer? Is it who is it going to be that is getting a fresh start that you're like, I just don't know?
Well, a little closer to home. Aguilar is the one I'm worried about the most. Tennessee, it is Josh Heupel's system. It is, it is proven to work. But Aguilar comes in not highly touted, kind of a gunslinger himself. You mentioned Mateer, kind of like that, very athletic. Could the ceiling, I feel like, got lowered when Nico left. But that's the one I worry about the most, because mainly the first three games, you've got Syracuse, which is a tough football team, a tougher football team. And then week 3, you got Georgia Bulldogs coming in. So, they don't have the luxury of playing 4 or 5, cakewalk games and getting going. There's a chance Tennessee could start out 1-2 and boy, you talk about the wheels falling off. So that's probably my biggest concern for New York first year quarterbacks. Prabulo, we mentioned him up in Mizzou there. Those two are probably anybody in Kentucky, you know what I'm saying? So any of those, that's probably my list right there, the 3 worrisome quarterbacks.
Cousin Shane, I'm going to be seeing you real soon, man. Appreciate your time. Let's talk again, all right?
Absolutely. Look forward to it, brother.